I'm here with Annika, and we are going to do a recap of this last year for our women's outreach ministry that has been happening. We have had a combination of our homeless outreach, women's drop-in center, and supportive living that have served a variety of different women. And Annika has been one of our staff members that has been involved in all those aspects. And so as this last year of 2022, we're just a couple years from the 2020 unrest. And so the state of the city, unfortunately, crime and violence remains at still record numbers. Typically and unfortunately, the high levels of abuse to women and women victimization goes hand in hand with the violence and crime numbers. And so, Annika, you've been involved in these different aspects. Tell us a little bit just about just an overview, what does homeless outreach look like? And how has that aspect been when you've come in contact with women?
Yeah. This past year, we've gone on homeless outreach maybe about once a week, and we give out over 100 meals to people living in different homeless encampments in our area. And it's been really incredible to just have conversations with those people that we encounter and just check in with them, see where they're at, see how they're doing. And we've met quite a few women, especially on these outreaches, who are living on the streets, living in homeless encampments. But they tend to be a lot more closed off and not quite as willing to talk with you and share about how they're really doing.
Yeah, our food shelf wants to be about feeding people and praying for people, and that also is involved with our homeless outreach. Want to be the people that come and bring you meals and pray with you. And there is a consistency, as we've gone on and done this, after you continue to come week after week, and then the connection, how some individuals are open. And then also, there's not just an invitation, like here's a meal, we'll offer prayer for you, we offer other resources, but also if you want to come to our women's drop-in center, where we offer laundry and a shower, a meal, more food, hygiene products. And so as we've seen women come, this summer we've seen women consistently come to the drop-in center. Tell us a little bit kind of what that looks like and maybe a couple stories from that.
Yeah, we have seen our drop-in center grow a lot over this past year. We've had a lot of women start coming very regularly. Some of them are our neighbors who come just looking for toiletries, but we have several women who are in more vulnerable situations, maybe living on the streets, who come take a shower and get new clothes and toiletries and that type of thing. And we've really seen several women open up over the course of this year as they come again and again. They're more open to interacting with us and letting us pray for them and really sharing where they're at and what they're going through.
Yeah, and I know in Source over the last 2 years, we've seen about 400 individuals make first-time commitments to follow Christ. A lot of that is through, again, our food distribution, but also at the Women's Drop-In Center. It's been very special to see women we talk about opportunity and hope. Not just, okay, here's for today, we can help keep you safe, and here's resources, but also a hope for a future that God cares for you and wants a relationship with you. And I know you've seen that also at the drop-in center. And can you tell us a story about the woman that received Christ, made a first-time commitment?
Yeah, there was one woman in particular who came in one day, and she was very anxious, very out of it, and she just sat down. We gave her some food, we gave her some new clothes, and as she was eating a hot meal, we started talking to her, and she started sharing more about her situation. She had run away from home a few months prior and had been living on the streets in Minneapolis. So she was in a very vulnerable situation, and as she was eating, she let us pray over her, and she ended up accepting Christ that day. she walked out of the drop-in center and her demeanor was just completely different. It was much more peaceful and confident.
Wow. Source has been engaged with homeless youth and teens in prostitution since '95, and some of the history in 2010, we actually started a specific anti-trafficking, women victimization outreach, and that included transitional homes. In 2018-19, we were the victim resource coordinators for the Super Bowl, and when the NCAA tournament was here, and ran an emergency shelter for the Super Bowl when it was here. And just have nurtured a relationship with law enforcement. And 2020 kind of turned everything upside down in our world, but including how we do outreach. And so having the drop-in center and that combination of making contact and gain trust and then being accessible and available. Because sometimes, right, women don't show up the next day. Sometimes it'll be a few weeks or maybe a few months. And you don't really know the reason for that or the timetable, but just seeing that relationship grow, and I don't know if you can talk a little bit about just the women starting to recognize you, and having a face that has served them before, and that as you've seen trust grow, them being more open, and then them willing to trust more, right, and then being able to speak into their lives about resources and be able to get out.
Yeah. It's been a really cool experience to have regulars come and get to know their name, and they know our names, and just check in with them every time they come. And it's not a new conversation every time. We get to see them progress and see them get connected to more resources and get off the streets, get into housing, get into programs. So that's been a really cool experience, and they've definitely gotten a lot more comfortable with us and have started volunteering at our food shelf and just wanting to give back in that way because of how much they feel blessed.
Yeah, and that's been neat too, to see them want to be involved in helping the community. I think of one story too of one of our staff members. On our flyer it talks about the different resources we offer, and people wait in line, and women's drop-in, and one woman started tearing up and started crying, and our staff member really wasn't sure why, and it turns out she shared, because she's not so far removed, maybe a year and a half, where she could relate to needing a shower, needing a change of clothes, being on the streets. And she was just and she didn't have a place like this, or she didn't know of one. And so she was so grateful to see that happen. And so having the Women's Drop-In Center has also been a way just to communicate to the whole community that there's people that care for them and want to help them as well. And, now, maybe we can just end with, Sources also have different apartments. And so this last year we've had some refugee housing, but we've also have had a supportive living program to some single moms, as well as a young woman who was in outpatient treatment. And just that aspect of having a place, right, a safe place to be able to get on your feet or to get some more stability so you can grow in independence. How has that really blessed individuals?
Yeah, I think it's been really good to have that option for them to have stable housing, and it also lets them get involved in the community and give back as they volunteer at our food shelf. Yeah. And just having regular meetings and check-ins with them, making sure they're working on their goals, and I think that's been really cool to see them progress. Yeah,
and we're connected with caseworkers and some peer resources helping individuals get off addictions, and just really, again, being able to be there to be recovery resources for individuals. And so, Annika, I just want to end this by just encouraging people to continue to pray for Source, pray for our staff that engage. Pray for women trying to get out of their current situations. And so thank you so much for serving. Thank you to everybody who prays and also is a partner with Source. We couldn't do this alone.